Welcome back to another SCP reading, dear researchers. Today we're going to be reading SCP-447, Bowl of Green Slime. Now without further ado, item number SCP-447, Object Class, Safe, Special Containment Procedures. SCP-447-1 is to be kept within a 50-gallon clear plastic container at all times, monitored by camera by a Security Level 3 or higher staff member to prevent overflow. Area is to be maintained at Level 1 cleanroom status to prevent contamination by foreign matter at a site at least 10 kilometers away from any cemetery, morgue, or mortuary. Under no circumstances is SCP-447 to be allowed to come into contact with dead bodies. Because SCP-447-1 constantly creates a viscous greenish slime, designated SCP-447-2, at a rate of approximately 10 cc per hour, a Class D personnel in good physical condition is to be detailed to harvest the excreted slime at least once per day. SCP-447-2 can be harvested using any appropriate equipment, so long as safety procedures are carefully adhered to, in order to prevent on-site fatalities. Slime can be transported in an ordinary sealed glass or plastic container through any standard mode of transportation, provided that there is no risk of the slime coming into contact with a dead body en route. Although malodorous, the slime harvested from SCP-447-1 is non-toxic, non-corrosive, and non-radioactive. It is, in fact, perfectly safe as long as it does not come into contact with a dead body. The slime is edible and reportedly makes a good salad dressing. Adding 10 cc of SCP-447-2 to 1 gallon of gasoline improves fuel efficiency by 150%. Furthermore, SCP-447-2 can be refined. See Appendix 447-C, distillation process, into a useful lubricant, approved for use at all SCP Foundation installations, so long as said lubricant is never used to lubricate dead bodies. All staff assigned to SCP-447 are to be screened by polygraph for any suicidal, necrophilic, or homicidal tendencies. In addition, all staff assigned to SCP-447 must be in good health and good physical condition, and must adhere to on-site safety regulations at all times. This is to minimize the risk of SCP-447 or its generated slime coming into contact with a dead body. Description: SCP-447-1 is a green sphere approximately 5 centimeters in diameter, with a spongy surface texture and a weight of 1.37 kilograms. The object is warm to the touch, approximately the same temperature as a human body, although its core temperature is slightly higher. Personnel handling SCP-447-1 have reported no adverse effects, so long as SCP-447-1 does not come into contact with a dead body. SCP-447 was retrieved by Foundation agents in California, in the United States of America. The incident clearly illustrates the danger inherent in allowing either SCP-447 unit to come into contact with a dead body. For further information, please see Appendix 447-A, Retrieval Report. The dangers of allowing SCP-447-1 or -2 to come into contact with dead bodies have been clearly documented. Detailed eyewitness reports can be found in Appendix 447-B, Prior Incidents. To summarize, however, initial effects include, and the following data is expunged per O5 level directive, research into this field forbidden upon pain of immediate termination or demotion to Class D. Please contact your supervisor for more details. But To summarize, Addendum 447-A. SCP-447 downgraded from Killer to Safe, so long as security measures are in place to prevent SCP-447 from coming into contact with dead bodies. Please see Experiment Log 447-A for further potential applications of SCP-447. Experiment Log 447-A. Experiment Log for SCP-447-2. Approved by O5 Command, monitored by 3 members of O5 Command, and the project head is Dr. A. Claff. All researchers working with SCP-447 are encouraged to append their results to this experiment log in the following format: the date, which will be redacted throughout, and so I'll be skipping and reading it, the test subject, the results, and any notes at the end. Test subject SCP-882. Procedure: SCP-447-2 was refined into a lubricant. SCP-882 was temporarily removed from its seawater bath, and SCP-447-2 applied as a lubricant to all joints and connections. Results: although SCP-447-2 was successful in reducing grinding by 50%, it was also successful in removing rust from the structure. SCP-882 was immediately returned to its seawater bath, and staff on hand were placed in quarantine for examination. Notes: let's not try that again, shall we? Dr. A. Claff. Test subject 1. Guinea pig, purchased from pet shop. Procedure: subject was immersed in SCP-447-2 for 5 minutes. Care was taken to keep the subject's head above the level of the fluid to prevent the death of the test subject. Results: subject's fur became saturated with the fluid. Test item required several hours of grooming to remove SCP-447-2 from its fur. No further deleterious effects reported. Notes: after careful washing to remove all traces of SCP-447-2 from its fur, subject was subsequently consumed by a Foundation agent who is of Peruvian descent. The agent reported that the meat was, in his own words, the best Q I've ever had. Approval for testing of SCP-447-2 as a marinade is currently on hold, pending review of whether or not steak constitutes a dead body. Test subject 1 tablet of SCP-500. Procedure: subject was immersed in SCP-447-2 for 5 minutes. Results: in addition to curing all diseases, subject now also leaves the patient's breath feeling minty fresh. Notes: about what was expected. Seriously, guys, what were you thinking would happen? Dr. A. Claff. Test subject SCP-076-2. Procedure: 500 milliliters of SCP-447-2 was added to 500 milliliters of distilled vodka and 2 dozen ice cubes, shaken well, and strained into a pitcher. Approximately 0.2 liters of the mixture were poured into a glass with mint and lime garnish. Mixture was taken to SCP-076-2, who was told, "Hey Abel, try this, it's pretty good." Results: SCP-076-2 agreed that the mixture was, in his words, refreshing, but immediately lost interest when told of SCP-447-2's interaction with dead bodies. Notes: because of SCP-076-2's tendency to become and/or create bodies, further contact with SCP-447 is forbidden. Test subject. 1 Pentium 4 computer, 1.5 gigahertz with procedure. Subject was immersed in SCP-447-2 for 5 minutes, with the power cord unplugged. Results. Subject became caked in goo and no longer functions. Notes. Whoever came up with this one should be kicked in the head. Dr. A. Clef. Test subject. SCP-063. Procedure. A Foundation doctor used SCP-447 instead of toothpaste to brush his teeth with SCP-063. Results. Given that the doctor doesn't need to use toothpaste to begin with, not much really. Notes. What is with you people? Dr. A. Clav. Test subject. 1 dead body. Notes. The test was aborted. The scientist who made the proposal has been reassigned as Class D personnel. Note 2. Seriously, guys, how hard is it to understand? No dead bodies. None. Nada. Nine. Don't think about it, don't joke about it, and most certainly don't do it. Sheesh. Dr. A. Clav. Test subject. Dr. A. Clav. Procedure. Dr. A. Clef was ambushed in the hallway, dragged into a room with a bathtub full of SCP-447-2, and immersed for approximately 25 seconds. Results. Subject became irate and threatened to kill staff members carrying out the experiment if it were not for the fact that doing so would violate experimental protocol. Notes. As soon as this mess is cleaned up, you will all be missed. Dr. A. Clav. Test subject. Potassium nitrate sugar mix. Procedure. A spoonful of SCP-447 was added to the mix of potassium nitrate and sugar in order to create a makeshift smoke grenade. Results. Not only did the new mix slow down the combustion in such a way that the generated smoke was 10 times greater and lasted approximately 5 minutes longer than the original mix, but it also colored the smoke with a green tint and left it with a minty smell. Notes. Not bad for a $3 smoke grenade, although this wouldn't work so well in the field. The odds of the smoke reaching a dead body are just too high. Test subject. Professor Snyder. Procedure. 2 drops, 1 microliter each, of SCP-447, 1 in each of Professor Snyder's eyes. Note that Professor Snyder has an astigmatism and normally wears corrective eyewear. Results. Vision was clear and focused for 6 hours, though Professor Snyder reported to now see everything in a green tint. Subject's eyesight soon returned to normal, though both eyes are now a much more brilliant green than before. Notes. Oh well, I look better with my glasses anyway. Professor Snyder. Notes 2. This might be marketable as vision correction, but people might notice the extra green. Regardless, I'd like to request a couple liters of this stuff for personal use. Agent Mar. Test subject. 8 ounce, 236 milliliters, glass of skim milk. Procedure. 2 teaspoons, 10 milliliters, of SCP-447 thoroughly stirred into milk. Results. Milk turned a bright green in color and was slightly thicker, with a slightly minty flavor. Chemical analysis later indicated that the concoction was now lactose-free. Notes. You know, we might be able to market this stuff. I'm pretty sure dead bodies don't drink milk. Professor Snyder. Test subject 16 pounds, 6.8 kilograms of quick dry cement. Procedure: cement powder and 5 gallons or 19 liters of SCP 447 rotated inside a standard miniature cement mixer. Results: mixture took on a green tinge and solidified to a hardness 50% greater than normal concrete, though it took twice as long to dry. Notes: it seems promising, but it's time consuming to make, and the risks of a dead body falling on a slab of this stuff is, well, too high. Professor Snyder. Test subject 2 cups of water, 475 milliliters. Procedure: 1 tablespoon, 15 milliliters of SCP 447 2 thoroughly stirred into water. Results: water turned a green tint but is otherwise normal. Contaminants reduced by 78%. Notes: this would make a good chlorine substitute for swimming pools. All the cleanliness of chlorinated water without the bleachy smell or hair discoloration. Too bad some swimmers are careless and turn into dead bodies. Dr. Ray A. Test subject 1 pizza produced by SCP 458. Procedure: 1 small sauce cup of SCP 447 2 is held in one hand by Agent Polhanick, while the other holds SCP 458. Results: no outwards change in the composition of SCP 447 2 is evident. SCP 458 produced a hamburger pizza on a cheese stuffed crust. After dipping a slice in SCP 447 2 and ingesting, Agent Polhanick noted the taste of the substance was like a creamy Italian dressing. Following his consumption of the pizza, Agent Polhanick's breath was said to be minty fresh. He then proceeded to hoard the pizza box to himself for a few hours. Notes: though this brings up new indication into the nature of SCP-458, nothing remarkable has come to attention from this, other than PAL's tendency to overheat. Slight psychological therapy may be in order. Dr. Del Marino. I suggest we market this stuff as a dressing, but people eating lots of pizza on a regular basis tend to become dead bodies. So, Agent Polhanick. Test subject 1 cellular phone. Procedure: the phone is placed in one small plastic container holding 1 liter of SCP 447 2 and left to sit for 5 minutes with power off and battery discarded. Results: the phone is ruined and subsequently destroyed in a nearby furnace. The ashes and fumes from the burning phone were reported to be green and minty in scent. Has anyone seen my phone? Agent Polhanick. Test subject 3 cars. 1 2006 Honda Civic. 106 Dodge Stratus. 106 Chevy Malibu. Procedure: SCP-447 was used as liquids in each vehicle mixed equally with oil, used as window washer fluid, and mixed into the radiator. Results: each car had each liquid added individually. The various components of each engine performed with superb results. The Honda's radiator did not overheat until temperatures reached in excess of 340 degrees Celsius, more than twice the average temperature of a vehicle. The waters seemed to be tinted green even after being drained. The Stratus's windshield was cleaned to factory new perfection and resisted dirt and grime after use. Side effect described as green tinted glass. The Malibu's engine components were lubricated to perfection and lasted over 160,000 miles on a dynometer. Exhaust was tinted green. Notes. Impressive, but given the intelligence of some drivers, the chance of dead bodies contaminating the samples is too high. Dr. Axe. Test subject. 1 roll of duct tape. Procedure. SCP-447 was applied to the adhesive side of a strip of duct tape, which was subsequently attached to a cement brick. Results. Tape had bonded to the cement with twice the strength expected of a normal strip. Cement brick was left with a green stain in the shape of the strip of tape. Notes. This could be marketable, but with all the possible uses for duct tape comes even greater risk of coming into contact with dead bodies. Dr. Slav. Test subject. Nuclear reactor at a Foundation site. Procedure. During the regular maintenance, a couple thousand liters of SCP-447 2 were added to the moderator material in the reactor. Results. The moderation of neutrons was increased by leading to very high thermal output and temperature alarms being activated. The reactor's chamber gained a green tinge and faint mint smell. Notes. Effective, but the chance of an explosion and radioactive slime reaching dead bodies over a large area is too high. Dr. Kaskza. Notes. Dr. Kaskza has been incinerated and sent to a corrective facility for unauthorized and extremely dangerous testing. O5 Command. Test subject. 1 Colt Python revolver with a 8-inch barrel. Procedure. Gun was taken apart for regular cleaning. The cleaning cloth was put in a small tub of SCP-447 2 and soaked for 5 minutes. Cleaned as normally would. Lubrication replaced with SCP-447 2. Results. Gun fired with a 35% reduction in recoil. Testing found bullets fired had their maximum speed increased by nearly 210%, and acceleration increased by 55%. Accuracy was increased by 3.7% at close range, and by 486% at maximum range. Max range was also increased by 40%. Gunsmoke was green in tint. Interestingly, unspent ammunition put into the gun were stated to smell minty and had a green tint. Despite this, when these bullets were removed and fired from another gun, said gun did not receive any benefits. Notes. The more testing we do, the more I begin to wonder how more advanced technology would be. If only this damn dead body curse didn't exist, this stuff would benefit us in so many ways. This test shows that guns would become incredibly efficient, but then again, guns are used to kill people, so you will run into a dead guy at some point. Notes 2. I suppose we could use this in a combat situation, but only as a last resort, and even then, we'd have to be careful. Dr. Clinton. Test subject. 1 liter of candle wax. Procedure. Wax was added to SCP 447 2 in a 2-to-1 ratio of wax to SCP 447 2. A candle wick was dipped into the wax to create a candle. Results: the candle gave off 50% more light at a distance of 10 meters, and also gave off a strong smell of mint as it burned. However, the candle burned out in roughly half the time of a candle made solely out of wax, and was far more difficult to extinguish, requiring a CO2 fire extinguisher to put it out. Notes: while it may seem like a good idea to market it, the mint smell was far too strong to the point of being nauseating. The candle also burns out too quickly to be used as a source of light as well. I suppose you could use it as an air freshener, but seeing how dangerous fire can be and how hard it is to put out, well, let's say there's a good chance of it coming into contact with a dead body somewhere down the line. Test subject SCP 586. Procedure: 10 milliliters of SCP 447 2 was directly applied to SCP 586. Results: no noticeable cha-chas to structure composition or effect of SCP 586 were noted. However, SCP 586 became more violently luminescent in its shade of gray, and was reported afterwards to smell strongly of mint. Notes: I see no point in continuing this line of testing, but it is safe. Very little chance of dank bodies here. Doctor. Test subject SCP-914. Procedure: 1 liter of SCP 447 2 in a cylindrical glass container was replaced by SCP 914 and refined on the rough setting. Results: 10 cylindrical glass containers, all exactly 1/10 the mass of the original container, each holding 100 milliliters of SCP 447 2. Notes: well, what did you expect? Doctor. Test subject SCP 914. Procedure: 1 liter of SCP 447 2 in a cylindrical glass container was placed in SCP 914 and refined on the coarse setting. Results: 1 liter of SCP 447 2 in a cylindrical glass container. All SCP 447 2 recovered in this manner gradually degraded to an unknown fluid, with similar composition to Turrisops truncatus, with a half-life of 2 hours. Notes: after most of it has sufficiently degraded, I suggest this new fluid to be run through similar tests as were conducted before. Doctor. Notes: a Foundation agent, the head cook at the site this test was conducted at, reports that this new fluid has a simple and rustic, yet surprisingly compelling flavor, and has requested 5 liters for culinary use. Request denied. Test subject SCP-914. Procedure: 1 liter of SCP 447 2 in a cylindrical glass container was placed in SCP 914 and refined on the 1-to-1 setting. Results: a dead body. Notes: further cross testing of SCP 447 2 with SCP 914 has been enjoined by order of the O5 Council. Test subject 2 liters of paint primer. Procedure: 250 milliliters of SCP-447-2 was mixed thoroughly into the paint primer. Results: the primer took on a green hue and started to smell minty. The resulting paint was approximately 200% more opaque when compared to a different can of primer. Notes: this would be marketed in home improvement stores, but the chances of a dead body coming into contact with painted surfaces is too high. Plus, the smell of mint is overpowering when a whole room is painted with the primer. Test subject: one pair of Adidas brand running shoes, size 12. Procedure: 10 liters of SCP-447-2 was poured into a standard hardware store bucket. The pair of Adidas shoes were submerged in SCP-447-2 for 5 minutes and removed. Shoes were then applied to researcher Ortz's feet. Results: rubber insole increased by 37% in density, allowing subject to run slightly faster. Shoelaces became 13% more rigid, slightly decreasing the chance of the knot coming unraveled. Shoes emitted a minty scent. Notes: we could market this as some kind of shoe conditioner, but I seem to be aware of the fact that many dead bodies wear shoes. Researcher Orts. Test subject: a variety of clothing belonging to Dr. Levy. Procedure: 100 milliliters of SCP-447-2 was used as a substitute for fabric conditioner in a washing machine. Dr. Levy's clothes were washed for 30 minutes, after which the clothes were dried and worn by Dr. Levy. Results: the clothing seemed more resistant to rips and tears, as well as shrinking. Dr. Levy reported that the clothes felt more comfortable than before. Clothes took on a slight green tinge, as well possessing a slightly minty smell. Notes: we could market this as a fabric conditioner, though some people might not like the green tinge in the smell. Plus, there's the problem that dead bodies are often clothed. Dr. Levy. Test subject: Dr. Heikila's hand. Procedure: a drop of SCP-447-2 was placed on the back of the subject's hand via an eyedropper. Results: Dr. Heikila proceeded to slap a nearby researcher across the face. The researchers said that they had a minty taste in their mouth after being slapped. Dr. Heikila proceeded to do the same to someone else, but the effect had worn off. Notes: first of all, why? Second of all, why did we let him do it? Dr. A. Claff. Test subject: a ballpoint pen. Procedure: the ink cartridge was infused with 0.5 milliliters of SCP-447-2. Results: anything written with the pen became approximately 27% clearer and gained a greenish tint. A slightly minty smell also started emerging from the ink. Notes: this could be great to market to children, scented pens, and I don't think there's much of a likelihood of it coming into contact with dead bodies, although you can never be too safe. Dr. Ahana. Test subject: 1-11045 T5 Wire stripper. Procedure: metal portion of subject was submerged in SCP-447-2 for 30 minutes and used to strip 12 AWG copper NMS cable. Results: any insulation was easily peeled off regardless of improper use of the tool, but stuck to the T5s and had to be removed by hand. Notes: This would make the lives of new electricians so much easier. Unfortunately, they could be careless and get shocked to death while holding on to this. Dr. A. Clef. Test subject. 1 standard size tub of Legos. Procedure. Tub was filled and submerged in SCP-447 2 for 1 minute and used to create a variety of items. Results. Builder stated that the directions just kinda came to us. We don't even need to look at the manual. Bricks also turned lime green and have a faint mint smell. Notes. The only reason I say we shouldn't market this is the fact a small child could choke on it. Then we have an entire new thing to deal with. Dr. Markin. Formally requesting this tub for recreational use. They're really addicting. Dr. Sanders. Accepted. Have fun. Dr. Markham. Test subject. 1 of each Foundation security card, tier leading up to 4. Procedure. Key cards were left to dip in SCP-447 2 for 1 hour, then tested on pre-made keycard testing doors. Results. All keycards had their numbers erased and replaced with the level 2 tiers above their own. 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 3 to 5, 4 to an card. All cards performed with their respective new numbers. Notes. Requesting an extra level 4 keycard and 1 liter of SCP-447 2. Dr. Sanders. Haha. No. Dr. Markham. Test subject. 2 AA batteries. Procedure. Batteries were submerged in SCP-447 2 for 30 minutes, then inserted into Dr. Clinton's flashlight, which was then shone until batteries were out of power. Results. Both batteries lasted roughly 28% longer than usual and were tinted a light green. The light from the flashlight was also a light green. Notes. Alright, we can probably use this. Pretty sure dead bodies can't use batteries, but someone may want to make sure that green light doesn't have the same properties as the normal slime. Dr. Clinton. Nope. Batteries have a tendency to cause dead bodies when around babies. Dr. Engelhardt. Test subject. 10 M202A1 flash rockets. Procedure. Rockets were coated in SCP-447 2 for 50 minutes, then loaded into a M202A1 flash to test explosion size, flame duration, and accuracy. Results. The explosion size remained the same. The fire post-detonation lasted 10% longer, along with having a greenish tint. No temperature difference noted. No difference in accuracy. Notes. Well, the accuracy of it isn't improved because it's not the rocket launcher itself. It's the rockets. Weapons researcher, person. Weapons researcher, person? It is requested that you do not do this again. Weapons have a way of creating dead bodies. Actually, wait a moment. How did you even get in? With a weapon? I have my ways. Weapons researcher person. Test subject. 1 urn. Procedure. Urn was polished on the inside and outside with a mix of polish and SCP-447 2 at a ratio of 3 to 1. Results. Experiment was interrupted just as ashes from a dead body were about to be put in. Notes.
Ashes from dead bodies are dead bodies too. I don't care how curious you are, but no ashes from dead bodies.
Dr. A. Clav. Test subject SCP-999. Procedure. SCP-999 was submerged in SCP-447-2 for 2 minutes. Results. SCP-999 exhibited a green tint for 5 hours, and in addition to curing depression, gave the subject green eyes. Notes. SCP-999 looked pretty cool, and we may be able to do this again. We could even consider marketing it as an antidepressant. Dr. Fall.
No.
Dr. A. Clef. Test subject. 1 katana. Procedure. The katana was submerged in SCP-447-2 for 5 minutes. Results. The katana emerged with a distinct green tinge to the blade. Dr. Clef confiscated the katana before any tests could be conducted on its performance. Notes.
Are you maniacs trying to give me a nervous breakdown? The whole point of a sword is to kill people.
Dr. A. Clef. Test subject. 1 vial of SCP-447-2 aged 30 days. Procedure. The vial was submerged in SCP-447-2 for 5 minutes. After that period of time, the vial was removed. The contents poured onto the top of the SCP-447-2 solution for 5 minutes. Results. Vial was tightly sealed, yet simultaneously easy to remove. The solution within the vial turned a bright green and gave off an extremely minty odor, now designated SCP-447-3. Notes.
I really thought this was going to go nowhere. Maybe you slack-jawed yokels have some sort of a brain in that FedEx box of a head. Have the solution of 447-3 sent to my office. I would like to personally conduct an experiment with it.
Dr. A. Clef. Test subject. 2 $1 bills. Procedure. 1 bill was submerged in a cup of SCP-447-2 for 5 minutes. The others submerged for the same amount of time within a cup of SCP-447-3, referenced above. Results. The bill submerged in SCP-447-2 became a $100 bill. The bill submerged within SCP-447-3 became a $2,500 US bill, which, according to the US Hall of Records, never existed, yet is completely usable in a marketplace environment. The bill was removed from circulation shortly after by an MTF team by command of Dr. A. Clef. Notes.
Why would you send that into circulation? Who knows what could happen to that bill out there?
Dr. A. Clef.
Oh, I wonder what we can do with this 447-3 stuff. Maybe we could make better and better liquid, like Inception. Request denied. We're playing with forces we don't understand here, Eli.
Dr. A. Clef. Dr. Shaw. Test subject. A copy of The Phantom Tollbooth. Procedure. Book was immersed in SCP-447-2 for 20 seconds. Results. Book became green and gained a minty smell. Notes.
I realized a bit too late that paper might constitute as the dead body of a tree. We really dodged a bullet on that one. Let's not try to push the envelope any further.
Dr. Norms. Test subject. Culture of Chaos Carolinus. Procedure. Homogenizer is used to prepare a uniform medium consisting of water and SCP-447-2. Using a dissecting microscope to locate individual cells, one chaos amoeba is removed from the culture. The amoeba is placed in the center of a clean glass microscope slide with a small volume of medium. A small drop of concentrated paramecium is added, and a wet mount prepared. Amoeba is then examined at low magnifications, and the process of ingestion of paramecium is observed. Then excess pressure is applied to the glass slip until chaos is damaged and finally crushed. Results of both stages are observed. Results pending approval. Notes also pending approval. Test subject. Standard first aid equipment. Procedure. Subject was covered with SCP-447-2. Subject will be used in the field to test performance. Results. Agents treated using subject reported that injuries healed 50% quicker. Agents also reported a minty aroma originating from the subject. Notes.
That was very lucky and extremely risky. Please don't do that again. Understood. Please send the subject to me, though. It would be a very good thing to have at the site I'm at.
Head Archivist Beryl.
Request approved.
Dr. A. Claff. Test subject. One test tube filled with 30 milliliters of SCP-035's corrosive acid. Procedure. A glass beaker of diameter 10 centimeters was filled with approximately 150 milliliters of SCP-447-2. The contents of the test tube was then gradually poured into the beaker. Results. Upon contact, the two substances reacted vigorously, causing visible cracks to form on the beaker. Approximately 30 seconds into the reaction, a light green flame ignited on the surface of the liquid, accompanied by a distinct burnt minty scent and the formation of a black salt precipitate. Subsequent analysis revealed that the resulting solution had a neutral pH value and exhibited properties similar to Y909. Notes.
Subject isn't as effective as Y909. Further requests for testing denied.
Dr. A. Claff. Test subject. A pack of 6 guitar strings. Procedure. The 6 strings were submerged in a bowl of SCP-447-2 for 30 minutes. Afterwards, strings were removed and all remaining 447-2 residue was cleaned off them. Results. The guitar strings were stained green and were attached to Junior Researcher Bard's electric guitar. Playing the instrument caused the strings to give off an extremely faint mint scent, but otherwise displayed no anomalous qualities. At his request, Dr. Researcher Bard was allowed to keep the strings because they contrasted well with my bluish-green guitar. Notes.
I think Junior Researcher Bard just wanted to show off his guitar skills, which are just alright at best.
Dr. A. Claff. And that's where we come to the end of our reading for today, dear researchers. First of all, I don't know why we're trying to make this marketable. It is an SCP. No. We already know the corpse thing. You're just gonna have accidental stuff. No. But anyway, thank you very much for coming, dear researchers. It has been an honor reading for you. Let's nix the whole trying to make SCPs profitable. This definitely is an older article because we haven't tried to do this in a long time, especially with something that's dangerous. And also, apologies for coming out a little bit late with this one. I wanted to do a video every day, but this one was longer than I thought because there was link at bottom with 30 minutes or whatever exactly we're at, of extra reading. So, yeah. Good luck out there, everyone. See you all next time, and I don't know, find some way to stare blankly at a ceiling, not understand that time is passing at some point. It's always relaxing to do that.